Basta salamat at ika'y isinilang. Di pangkaraniwan para siyang superhero. Hinarap lahat ng pagsubok, yung iba hindi biro. Meron siyang misyon, kaya walang takot sumabak. Mga buhay na nagkasalalay sa kanyang pangarap. Parang pelikula, action, adventure, drama. May konting comedy, love story na pangmasa. Galing sa wala, akala mo talo.
Right.
Good morning and good afternoon, good evening once again. Welcome to another edition of Hoops Talakayan with the Coaches. My name is Coach Melky Villanueva. I'm from Quezon Province, Philippines. And with me, we have here Coach David Bessie from Bacolod.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening,
Yeah.
good night.
Coach Rain Olarte from Marikina City.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys.
And Coach Enrico Quintana from Washington, D.C.
Good evening, Coach.
And before we start, I would like to thank our sponsor, NABA, North American Basketball Association, the biggest basketball association in North America. Familia Washington, D.C., ECQ Apparel, B-Mart, Filipino Grocery, Team Rich, Rich the Unreachable, and Spartan Basketball. We train good leaders and good character. Elgon's Corner, thank you. And before we start, I would like to ask Coach David Bessie to lead us on our prayer before we introduce our guests.
Absolutely. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to spend time together and learning and growing, not just in basketball, Lord, but all the important things of character and just excellence and leadership, Lord. So we thank you for this time and what we're going to learn in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for this day. And before we start, Coach Enrico, you may now introduce our guest speaker for today.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and good morning, Philippines. We'd like to, actually, I've been honored to introduce to you former national head coach of Republic of Maldives, head coach, director of basketball operation in BK Vejen in Denmark, our very own Coach John Coffino. Good evening, Coach John.
Hello, everybody. Good evening and good afternoon, good morning, good day.
Yes, Coach. And Coach,
I don't know how to say it in Filipino, but you got to teach me.
magandang umaga.
But tango manga. Okay.
Yeah, that's it, Coach. And Coach, our topic for today is about building college basketball program. And I know you have a lot of experience in building not only a youth but also a college program and also a national team in the Maldives. Can you tell us something about, Coach, first? Your status now, where you're coaching, where are you, your location now?
Right now, I'm in Orlando, Florida, at a small prep school, coaching post-grad players that are looking for a college scholarship. It's interesting that this is the subject because I'm constantly, lecturing my players how to get, interest from college scouts and everything. And, I'm helping a friend of mine here, Shane Huggins, who is the director of the program. And, we got a good group of guys. We got 16 guys, and they're all they're good players. But because of the COVID pandemic, and they're allowing players to stay another year, so it's going to be difficult, and there's going to be fewer opportunities, especially at the Division I level. But there's also Division II, Division III, NAIA, and junior college. So, we want to get our guys to advance, and to us that's success. Seeing them move on to the next level.
Yes, Coach. Hearing this, Coach, we usually have a program in developing youth sports, but this is another level in building college basketball, Coach. How do you build the college basketball, Coach?
Well, it starts with players, right? I mean, you have to have a good staff that can evaluate what type of player you're looking for. And I mean, to build a program, you really have that nucleus of good players. And I don't mean just great players. I mean good players, guys that are going to buy into the system, guys that are players, not just guys, but girls too, obviously, but players that are going to, want to be coached, are good students first and foremost, right, in college, because without academics, you can't play in college, especially in the U.S. I mean, it's we have a saying: no books, no ball. So you have to recruit the right players and the good that are going to represent your program and represent your school and be good ambassadors. Because they're wearing your name on their shirt, and to me, it starts with the players.
Coach David?
Coach, speaking of those players, can you talk about what you're looking for as a, say, in a college game versus, prep school, high school? What are you looking for as far as character's concerned in those players?
Yeah. I tell my players, and that's a great question. I tell my players, listen, you never know who's in the gym watching. Now with all these cameras and YouTube and social media, you never know. And even if no one's watching, I might get a phone call from a college coach and say, hey, you played this prep school the other night. How was this kid? And I say, well, he has a really bad attitude and he doesn't play hard. He's talented, but I know I wouldn't recruit him if I was a college coach, because you don't want to, David, you don't want to put your reputation out there and say, well, he's a good kid when he's not a good kid. And character is, to me, is number one. When I was doing the NBA draft and scouting for the NBA, they used to send me around to different college games and look at players. And there was one player that, quite frankly, I don't see why an NBA team would waste their time, giving him a contract when he didn't even warm up. He sat on the bench. He was not paying attention. He was looking into the crowd. How he relates to the coach, how he relates to his teammates, how he relates to the opponents, and of course the referees. You look at the little things, and you don't want to get crossed off that list, even if you're talented. But we had a guy tonight that was pointing to the scoreboard when we were winning, and I had to bench him. And he doesn't understand. I said, if I'm a college scout and I see that, you're done. You're off my list. I'm not bringing you into the program and sticking my neck out for someone who's going to act that way. So character is to me probably the most important, even more than talent. I'd rather have 10 guys that are, have great character, great attitude, and great work ethic than talented players that aren't going to play hard.
Yeah. So do you go spend some time meeting the parents and that type of thing? Is that the primary work? You're going to know the kid by the parents, right?
Absolutely. You got to sell the parents, and you know what? They got to sell you, because it's a major investment in college. Scholarships are very, very expensive, and they're very few. Division I gets 13, and not every year you have any open scholarships. But yeah, the parents, some players don't have both parents, and some players are from a broken home, and but it's very important that you meet them right away. But nowadays, there's more than parents you have to deal with. They have entourages, they have cousins, they have friends, and all these people that are helping them in their ear and making decisions. I personally prefer to deal with the mother, because you're going to be their mother and father when they're with you for 4 years, hopefully. So I mean, it's important. You get a visit. You're allowed a certain amount of home visits in Division I, and you have to use them accordingly. And if you can get a home visit, that means they're serious.
That's awesome. Just one follow-up question to that, relating to the coaches that you work with, because obviously you're talking about the character of the players, but what about the character of the coaches? How do you deal with that? What's your perspective on that?
Every coach is different. Some coaches hire their friends, which can be a mistake, because it'll be hard to get on them. I was just talking to a judge today about the presidential election and saying, and I asked the judge, I said, can a Democrat or a Republican take the opposite for their vice president? Like, can a Republican nominee candidate for president take a Democratic, vice president? He goes, yeah, you could do that. It's frowned upon, but if you feel that way. And I said, well, I look at it as a head coach. And as a head coach, you want guys that are going to be loyal. Number one, loyal. They're going to back you up no matter what. Even if you act like a jerk to the players, or you say something stupid like, you should have passed it, and you might even be wrong, but they back you up, and they're a buffer. They become a good buffer to the players between you and them. So it's very important that they buy into your system and they know you're on the same page. You can't say something to the player and they say something different. It's got to be the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
So
reinforcement.
you don't want yes
Loyalty.
man. You want to be able to talk to you though,
No.
but in private, right?
Yeah, you don't want a yes man. You want someone that's going to challenge you. Someone that's going to challenge your, but you're going to make the decision now. It's my decision. But
Right.
I want to hear your advice. I'm open to that. During timeouts, you don't have a lot of time for advice. You got a minute. But I'm going to make that decision. But I might agree. I might disagree. But you want them to get feedback. But you don't want a yes man because you're not going to grow. And I was an assistant for 15 years, so I got to know the plight of an assistant. Now that I'm a head coach for the last 15 years, I know what an assistant's responsibility should be.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Coach. I'll reserve my question for later and get back to everyone else.
Yes,
Okay.
Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Coach.
Coach. Coach Ring.
Hi, Coach. I just
Hello,
want to ask you a
Coach.
question. How do you handle girls basketball?
Okay, so many years ago, when I was coaching at Syracuse basketball camp, someone came up to me and said, "Would you want to coach women's basketball?" And I said, "You know what? Why not? Why not?" And so when I went overseas to coach professionally and to coach in some academies, I wasn't making a lot of money, so I got jobs in international schools. And one of the jobs I got was coaching girls. In Kenya, I coached at the International School of Kenya. In Georgia, I coached at an international school in Tbilisi. And what I found with girls is, to be quite frank, they're more focused. They're more coachable. They're they have their own cliques. That's okay. They talk amongst themselves, which but I found them to be easier to coach. I even I got on them when they needed to get to be told that they made a mistake. But to be honest with you, I think that women's basketball is a best kept secret. I think it's going to grow. I think there should be more coaches out there that consider coaching women's basketball. I mean, it's just a different animal, to be honest with you. I mean, the girls are just easier to coach. They're really locked in and they do what you say, literally do what you say. You tell them to cut a certain way, you tell them to get there, and it's just a joy to watch. And I had some success with the girls. And unfortunately, I lost a girl in Kenya through the terrorist attack in Nairobi in 2013 at the mall. One of my girls was killed by a terrorist, and that was the worst day of my coaching career.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, Coach.
Coach Enrico.
Good evening, Coach Dan.
Washington, D.C., you're on the air.
Yes, I'm here, Coach. Coach, how was the? I mean, yeah, you're developing those college, but I just wanted to know, Coach, what's the experience of this when you started this Albuquerque Thunderbirds, which is like, this is a D League, this is a big time. So
It,
how's the experience, Coach?
it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life to coach in the NBA at that level. I mean, I was very lucky. One of my former coaches brought me with him to Albuquerque to be his assistant. Then he left, and they gave me the job, and I stayed for 3 years. And I got to meet so many great people. Mark Cuban, he was our affiliate one year for the Dallas Mavericks. The Phoenix Suns were an affiliate, and I got some players sent down. I mean, I learned so much and learned really what it takes to play at that level. And to be honest with you, they're amazing players, amazing players. The game is so fast. The game is just it's just a different level, and all these guys want to get there. So you have 10 players that want to get a call up, you know, and So can you see me?
Yes, Coach.
Yes, Coach.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. I just got another window with my name on it. But,
Yes.
so you got 10 guys with the same agenda, but you also want to win games. But when you lose a player to the NBA, to me, that's success. So they'll get a 10-day conference call. They'll get a 10-day call up. Yeah.
One moment, please.
Why is this coming on? Okay.
Yes, Coach.
So So the goal is to get these guys to the next level, to get to the big league, and it's amazing when it happens. It hurts your team, but it really doesn't. It really makes you look better because you've gotten these guys to the next level. And I had the pleasure of getting about 5 guys called up to the NBA, and to see them play, it was just incredible. I was so happy for them, and um, and it takes a certain guy to make it. They don't need the NBA doesn't need a scorer. They have scorers in the NBA. They want guys that are just going to be good, like we say, building a program. They want guys that are going to come in and just be good teammates.
Yeah, because I mean, coach, why I went to that question is because after that, coach, then you start now realizing the big picture, and then you went back to the college. I mean, so you are fully equipped of all of, I mean, experience, and then now you molded, how now coming back to the 18, 16, those youth again back to the college level, coming from that D League. So you bringing a lot of, on your arsenal, your
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. I mean, Enrico, I learned a lot how to develop players in the D League because that's what it's about, developing. That's
Develop.
why they're there. I learned a lot, and having those 3 years in the D League gave me credibility. In my CV, so people look at me seriously. It was a great experience. I met a lot of great NBA guys. Bob Hill is my mentor, he's coached 5 NBA teams. I go to him whenever I have an issue. But to come back to the high school level or the post grad level and even overseas, the game is the same. You have to teach the game. And even at the NBA level, they still have to learn. There were players there that didn't know certain things, so you still have to teach at every level. But spending 3 years there, I learned so much from different coaches, and I took that with me. And that's what coaching is about. You steal a little bit from everybody, and you make your own little, system and personality, and you become your own. You have your own system.
Um,
Yes, coach.
oh, maybe next, yeah, I will follow it. No,
Yes,
since it was fresh, coach, I just want to, feel that. How did you felt that experience, coach, when you lost one of your players because of this, type of things, in Kenya, like, because we coaches, we are so much, close to our players, and then all of a sudden having that experience, like, because you've been experienced a lot, coach, your ups and downs, and
Right.
how does it, you felt, coach, when that thing happened, like that kind of
You
tragedy.
mean you mean like a roller coaster?
No, no, I mean, I'm saying what happened. You lost a player in Kenya because of this terrorist,
Yeah.
situation. I mean, as a coach, not everyone get that kind of experience. Like maybe some struggles from your players, but not something like this.
Yeah. When I was in college at St. Peter's, one of my players died of a heart attack in his room, and that was devastating. To have him suddenly just die right in front of his roommate, who was our best player, and his name was George Jefferson. May he rest in peace. It was just a horrendous day in my life, and then it's just something you just never get over. These kids have just short lives, and they love the game of basketball, and you build these relationships. And to this day, I still stay in touch with all my players that pretty close to, and I become a player coach, and they see it now. The things that I've been trying to yell at them about, now they're coaching, and they see the same thing, which is pretty cool. I say, you know what, coach, you're right. I see exactly what you're saying. I say the same thing to my kids now.
Thank you so much, coach. Yeah.
Anytime, Enrico.
yes, coach. And we have a question here. What is the overall goal of a basketball college program?
Say that again.
What is the overall goal of a college basketball program? It's a overall goal, coach.
The goals.
Yes, coach.
Well, you want to build a program where the community, the alums, people that have graduated, the former players, all are proud to say they were at that school and that university. You want to build that kind of program. Say, hey, I went to so and so. These Ohio State, where they're very very proud, and that's one goal. Unfortunately, it's about winning. You know, a lot of, you know, you win when you have a good program and a winning program. Students want to come to that school, not just the athletes, but just students. They want to be part of something special. And, you know, if you have an exciting brand of basketball, they, you know, and you have to market it. You have to have a good marketing program and just bring in a great entertaining players, but you want to win games because unfortunately in this day and age, it's about winning, and coaches, you know, they may have a 5-year contract, but sometimes it's cut short because they're just not heading in the right direction. You want to get better every day. You want to get better every year. You want to keep bringing in the talent. And, you know, you want players to, you know, you want to be able to turn down players, not, you know, look for players that, you know, you fill in scholarships. But it comes down to building a program where people are so very, very proud of you. And it's not just about making a name. It's about, you know, well, I want to go to that school because it seems really cool. That the sports are really, you know, they do well, and they have a good support. And obviously championships are going to bring you that notoriety, but, you know, you just want to have you want to be able to keep a clean program. Obviously that should be very important. And, you know, I preached to when I was in college, if the guys are going to go out and have fun, which they should, the first sign of a bad scene, you have to get out of there, because they're going to recognize these tall players. Oh yes, that team was there. They were there at that fight, and you're going to get recognized. So you have to be able to avoid certain situations. And, you know, with all the controversy that's going on, not just in the United States, but in the world, you have to try to avoid that. And even if you're a good athlete, the police don't care who you are. You know, they're gonna talk to you and question you. And so you want to keep a clean program. You don't want to cheat, which there's a lot that, you know, there's quite some cheating going on. And you want to teach the guys the life's lessons and what the real world is about. And I personally think that, you know, teams need mentors. I think they need mentors. People should come in and I like to bring guys in and talk to my players about drugs and alcohol, about, you know, having affairs with the opposite sex and being careful about that, and all sorts of things, time management, nutrition, all of that. We did that in the D League. It's two teams that were playing each other. We'd go to the hotel of the visiting team, and the NBA would come in and do a 2-hour, you know, lesson to the players. It was mandatory, otherwise you got fined if you didn't go. And I think they should do that in college. They do it with the rookies in the NBA when they first come into the league. They teach them all about the different things and how to use your money wise and all that. You know, watch out for certain people that try to trick you into getting your money and drugs and alcohol and all that stuff. So you want to keep a clean program, and it's not just about basketball. You know, it's more about academics and life.
Yes, coach. Thank you, coach. Because most of the time, coach, is the college players are already in their matured status. That's why they need to learn early, not only the skills in basketball. Coach David.
Well, Coach, that you brought up a topic that I think is really important, because it's something that not all coaches have to face. You face 2 deaths of players, you know, and that's significant. And I know Coach Enrico, and I know his heart and what he was trying to ask. And so I want to follow up with that part of it. And that is this. You know, you go out happy-go-lucky, and you got players who are doing great. You got a winning season, and all of a sudden something happens and somebody dies. And of course, both are tragic situations. So as a psychological and a spiritual side to this subject, and that is, it's not going to just affect you as the coach or the family of the player, but it's going to affect the team too. So what did you do in the, say, 2 or 3 days to a week follow up to that? What happened? You know, because like in Ethiopia, was it? Or Kenya? Kenya. Yeah. You know, when that mall attack, right? That was the mall attack that you're talking about.
Westgate,
yeah,
yes, Westgate.
So, you know, this is big, you know, and you know, not everybody gets touched by terrorism like that, and so that can have long-lasting effects of fear. And you know, so how did you do it as a team? Who did you bring in? You know, because, you know, some may be Muslims, they may be Christian, and so forth. So how did you help them to cope with this so that they didn't have lasting trauma you know, so as a chaplain, of course, I spent a lot of time in this area. You know, within 48 hours, you want to get somebody who's gone through something like this to at least have a shoulder to cry on, somebody to listen, somebody to, you know, and of course, as a team, the same thing. So what would you say about that, Coach?
Oh, well, you know, it was the girls' team, right, in the mall.
Yeah.
And when it happened, you know, you're numb, right? You're numb.
Yeah.
Our girls couldn't get on the court for a long time, a long time. I'm talking weeks. I finally, and the school didn't want me to meet with them right away. There were other kids that were killed in the mall from other schools. And, you know, we had to be careful because these international schools have embassy kids, United Nations, you know, kids,
Yes.
you know, ambassadors' kids. So we had to keep it low key because the terrorists, you know, if you publicize it, they're gonna, you know, they'll take advantage. But when they let me come in, I met with the girls, and you know, not a funny story, but an interesting story. The night before, it was a Friday, we practiced, and I met her mother for the first time. And I said, you know, your daughter looks like a little gingerbread doll. And all the other girls got jealous. Said, how come I don't have a nickname? Well, her mother was with her when she got killed too. She got killed.
Oh.
And her brother was shot twice in the leg, 10-year-old brother. And they were Muslim. They were Muslim. And they were Hindu Muslim. And they weren't supposed to shoot those people. They were looking for people that didn't understand the Quran and didn't understand, you know, the Islamic faith. But anyway, we went to the funeral, and it was really beautiful. It was different, you know, on the floor with flowers and blue, painted blue, and it was so moving. But it was tough. It was tough. So what I did was, when I finally got to meet with the girls at the school, I went to a bakery, and I asked them to make me some gingerbread cookies with her number on it, and they loved it. It just totally took the, you know, I had to do something, you know, and it totally took the weight off of them. And we little by little kind of played a little bit, but it was not the same. I pray for them every day. In my prayers, I pray for Noriana, you know, and her mother. I mean, to be with them less than 10 hours, it was the weirdest thing. I was at a rugby match with my academy team, and I kept getting these missed calls, and one of the girls on the team saying, "Don't go to the mall. We can't find Noriana," and it was just a horror story. And since then, I had to get chaperoned everywhere I went. My family, of course, wanted me to come home, but I said no. My players need me, and I just didn't want to go, and I didn't go. And you know, it's just one of those things that never goes away. She was a beautiful girl, and just you know, terrible tragedy, terrible. And in fact, I was supposed to go to that mall the next day. I had a brunch appointment.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, sad, very sad.
And that's, you know, what you shared there about, you know, Islam and the extremists that are associated with that. Every religion has them. Every religion has these kind of extremists. So, and, you know, as a coach, you were able to stand in the gap there. And, you know, I salute to you, Coach. That's not an easy thing. And I know you still go with that. And of course, now we can pray for you too, and we can connect with you. But I know that you're, you know, coaches are, that's what I appreciate about coaches. When I was growing up, you know, of course, some teachers too, not all teachers, but the coaches are always there, even sometimes more than our parents, so we can talk to them. And so we're there to, you know, to be that father or that mother, if you will. And so thank you, Coach. Thanks for sharing that.
No, it's my pleasure. And you're right. Coaches are more than coaches. You know, they're mentors, they're brothers, they're fathers. You know, they sometimes players confide in them things they won't tell their parents. You know, I made a mistake in my first couple of years of coaching. I got too close to players. So when it came time for me to discipline them, they were like, "Wait, I thought we were buddies," you know. And so you got to draw the line somewhere. But you know what? They know that you care about them. And I use that expression to all you coaches. Players don't care how much you know, but they know how much you care.
Very good. We got to write that one down. That's a great one, Coach. We'll use that.
Yes, coach.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, coach. As part of the goal of building a basketball coach, as part of it is winning and getting players. Now we go on to the training program in college. How do you do it, coach?
Okay. I don't change my training unless, unless there's restrictions, obviously. I do a professional training system that I did in the MBA. And, what you like to do in the beginning is, 2 weeks of really, really strenuous work, maybe it's twice a day. In college, you probably lift weights in the morning or maybe run a mile, and then go to have breakfast, and then they go to class, and then they come back and we have practice, and then they go to study hall. It's a busy schedule, but I'd like to do 2 weeks of hard work. And what you do is, if you could see my hand, you go hard, and then when the season starts, you start to taper off, and then when you get towards the playoffs, you really, really slow down. Less practicing, less hard practices are shorter. In the end, maybe you can go 2.5 hours. Now in the NCAA, you're limited to a certain amount of hours, last I checked, per week. But what you do is you want to go hard until the season starts. Then you want to go a little softer, and then when it's really the end of the year, you don't want to kill your players and have them have no legs, but you still want to keep lifting weights, because during the year your body takes a beating. And if you keep lifting weights, you can maintain that strength, yet recovery. So you keep lifting weights throughout the whole year. You don't go as heavy, but it's like a curve. You go up, and then over, and then down. That's how the training goes. More conditioning in the beginning. You condition them without even them realizing it, with basketballs and stuff like that. But we don't like to even play 5-on-5, for the first couple of weeks. They want to. They want to play 5-on-5, just throw the balls out. But that's where you pick up the bad habits. We want to get them in shape first. Conditioning is number one, and then when they're getting in the right shape and getting into a good rhythm, then we'll start teaching them the fundamentals, and then the fundamentals we'll start doing the half court stuff, and then we'll do the full court stuff. It's all in progression, and you have to have a plan, and it should all be mapped out and written out each day, each week, each month.
Yes, coach. That is the next thing that we were asking. How do you do your practice plan? Because training plan is already set, and how do you do your practice plan and every practice?
Right. So you meet with your staff. We used to meet in a place called the War Room. It's the War Room. But we would talk about, okay, how do you want to start practice? Yeah, let's do, okay, 3 o'clock, we stretch. 3:10, we warm up. We do some warm up drills, half speed, and it's all in the timeline, right? Everything's got to be written out or typed out. You know, you do a lot of the running in the first half of practice. After a lot of strenuous drills, you make them shoot free throws, because you want them to shoot when they're tired, when it's like game situation. Second half, you do more teaching. Maybe you put in some defense, offense, little by little. But you have to be able to be flexible. You have to know that sometimes you're not going to get everything in practice, because sometimes you have to stop practice and teach and things, or maybe keep with a drill a little bit longer until they get it. So, but once they get it, practices, the shorter the practices, the better. The longer, you start to lose the players. But in the beginning, you have the longer practices, because you got a lot of stuff to get in, and you should be organized. By week one, I want to have my half court defense in. I want them to, be able to handle pressures. We're going to do one-on-one defense, dribbling and stuff like that. All that stuff has to be planned out and talked over your staff. Give me a good drill for this. Give me a good rebounding drill. You have to cover all the bases. And one thing that guys, coaches don't cover is situations. And I like to do that towards the end of practice, maybe 10 minutes, and give one team the ball and the other team on defense, and put the score on the clock, time on the clock, 10 seconds left, tie game, blue team has the ball. What do you do defensively? What do you do offensively? A lot of teams don't go over that situations. And I think the way you practice is the way you play, and you have to be prepared. You know what John Wooden says? Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. But
Thank you,
everything's got
coach.
to be organized.
Yes, coach. Thank you for that, coach. Coach Rain.
Okay, coach. In building college program, what preparation do you focus in off season or during season?
Can you say that again? You were breaking up.
In building college program, what preparation do you focus on off season and during season?
Good. Okay, so off season is where you're to me you're made as a champion. That's where the championships are made in your off season. If you have a group of players that are willing to commit, first of all, I give them a couple weeks off. Go have fun, relax, focus on academics, whatever. And then we get back in the weight room. We do some individual stuff, lots of individual work, maybe 45 to an hour, 2, 3 times a week. Work on the big men in the paint, the perimeter stuff. To me, that's where you get better. Is in the off season, and you'll have players that are into it, and they'll have a routine. I know 2 o'clock I got to work out. I got weights. I'm going to do my run. Off season is very important. Very, very. Not in the NBA, after the season's over, guys go party. They go with their families to the islands. They go to the Philippines. They go to Thailand. You know, and they have their fun, and they do what they have. And then when they come back, you wouldn't believe how badly they look. I mean, they're throwing up in the workouts. Getting all that alcohol out of them. But that's the pros. In college and in AAU and in high school, you want to give them a program. You want to give them a program where they're going to stick to it and get better. And you only get better is by getting in the gym. Sitting home in front of your TV or on your computer or on your phone or doing video games, you're not going to get better. And there's always somebody that's working harder than you. You should be that person. And you know what, Coach Olarte?
Yes, coach.
As the coach, if you're a hard worker, your players are going to be hard workers. If you're lazy, they're going to be lazy. If you're a complainer, they're going to complain. But if you're poised, they're going to be poised. If the players they take over their coach's personality. The team becomes you. My team is emotional, like me. They play hard, and they don't quit. They don't quit, and they're passionate. And they're starting to form my personality. I mean, it just happens. I don't force it on them. That's the way it is. But you have to be the person. Like when I went to the Republic of Georgia, and Coach David, check this out, Coach David. Zaza Pachulia, who played in the NBA, right, won some championships with the Warriors. He asked me to take over his academy, which had like 1,000 kids, and he wanted me to coach the coaches there. He says, I want you to coach them like an American. I want you to teach them how the Americans coach. Well, I came in and I took away all the phones, no leaning on the poles, on the walls, no smoking, no yelling at the kids, all positive stuff. No games for the first couple of weeks, all fundamentals. We did ball handling the first week. We did passing the second week, shooting. After a month, we had games on a Saturday. But the main thing was to get to the coaches. Without the coaches, the kids are not going to get better. You have to teach the coaches how to coach, and they have to have the right attitude, and it's got to be all about the kids. We're giving back to the game that gave us so much, and I really was strict with the coaches. I would tell them, you're not, I have the right to take you out of here if you're not, there's no more yelling at the kids. There's no more laziness. I want you to leave 1 hour practice sweating. That's the way it is. That's the way it is, because you're doing it for the kids.
Thank you, coach.
Thank you,
Okay,
Coach.
Coach O.
And Coach Enrico.
Coach, nakamute ka, coach.
Yes, Coach.
Oh, I'm trying to share a screen, Coach.
Yes, Coach.
You guys see it?
Did you share that picture?
Yeah. That's the
Oh,
question,
wow.
Coach, that I wanted to know. I mean, how is that experience, Coach? Like,
I'm sorry.
how's the experience, Coach?
Is this a
Like
college
you're
coach,
coaching?
college players, Coach John?
With these guys?
Yes, Coach, college or high school?
Okay, this was an academy in Kenya,
Okay.
and I have South Sudanese players. I have Kenyan players,
Is that the one, the
Congolese
championship?
players. And let me tell you, Coach, yeah, we won
Is
the
it?
championship in Nairobi, and we moved up And that's when I got a call from England to coach a professional team, and I left. We were 14-0 at the time when I left in the top level.
Yeah.
This is after we won the championship in the second level. But anyway, what was great about Africa was I got to learn how to coach all over again. I got there and they said, Coach, these guys are not disciplined. They're missing layups and laughing, and they're walking to practice. I said, okay. I came in 2 weeks. I got on them. I threw a few guys out of practice, sent them back to the house. They were great. They came into my room because I lived with 18 of these guys. I lived with them.
Wow.
And the other guy standing with his hands on his hips, Robbie Pierce, he's the one that brought me there. He's a big famous guy from England. These guys were raw like an onion, and they were so into learning. And, you know, as you can see, we play outside. And we practiced twice a day outside a pig farm, a slaughterhouse, which was the worst place ever, the smell and the squealing, but we got used to it. And we practiced outside a church, Coach David. A church gave us their parking lot. We made it courts and everything. But I learned how to coach all over again from the beginning. That's when we went to the slums and gave back to the kids. I was writing on their hands. They all wanted me to draw on their hands with Sharpies. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Sad, but, we gave them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and juice, and these poor kids had nothing, nothing. But it was a great experience. I really it was the most satisfying coaching job of all time. And it's not because we won championships. It's because I got so much out of it. The guys really, really progressed and developed, and they were so appreciative. And so respectful, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And I'm writing a book about all my travels, and this is going to be a major chapter, the Kenyan chapter, because it was a big part of it. And it's just, I was so. By the way, I made $70 a week there. I forgot to tell you.
I was surprised.
70. That's why I got the job at the International School of Kenya. They gave me $5,000 for the year. And, it lasted. I was spending my own money, so I said I needed a little extra money. And so I coached the boys and girls in the international school.
Looking at you, at all of your pictures there, it's like you're having fun, Coach. You're like, I haven't seen
yourself,
you
Coach.
having fun like that.
You're in the zone, Coach.
Well, you're different, you look different than them, right? And you were almost like a circus clown. They would point at you and say, "Mommy, mommy, look at the Mzungu." Mzungu means white man.
Yeah.
I was like, and I would go right up to them and play with them, on the street. It was great. It was you really stand out. And unfortunately they think you're rich, which I'm not, but they compared to them, you are. And you try to be as generous as possible. There's a lot of missionaries there and a lot of nice people trying to help, and it was just an gratifying experience. I totally was very lucky.
And you play outdoor most of the time, right?
We played outdoors, and there was one game that we had to postpone, because the Maasai Warriors, which is one of the groups in Kenya. There's different groups. The Maasai Warriors passed through our game with a herd of goats, and the goats would not leave the court. They were smacking them with the sticks and everything. They would not leave the courts, and we had to cancel the game.
Wow.
Where else can that happen? Where in the world does that happen?
The Philippines.
Yeah, there could be a Carabao walking on the game. Whoever has the nerve to put them out, then
I want to be called the GOAT, but not that way.
There you go.
Coach, I haven't read this the article. But pretty much this is an intense game.
Say that again.
The paper from the sports that you got.
England, yeah, England.
Yeah. So how was the experience now there, Coach, from Africa now back to most of the people that you look like you now?
Exactly. That's what I said. I'm going from a place that doesn't speak English, where I had to learn Swahili, to an English-speaking, lights, Caucasian type, place. I only went there to visit, and when I got there, the guy said, "Well, we want to hire you for 2 years." And I took the job, and we were a shot away from the finals, and we got a call. That was a bad call. They said we stepped out of bounds, but we didn't. We hit the three. It was we were 26-10. It was great. The only problem is I don't drink alcohol, and I was frowned upon for, after games. What? You don't drink? I go, no, I don't drink. I'm sorry. I mean, that's the way they are. They celebrate that way. But it was another great experience. I had great players. I had some of my former D League players come join me and everything. So
And then after that, then another one, coach.
there's China.
You've been traveling so much.
That was a great program. China there. The Loyang Golden Stars. Michael Liu next to me to my right. He's the GM. First class. We had $1 million bus. It was unbelievable. And now my Americans aren't there yet, but I had 2 NBA guys join us. I had Josh Powell. He played in the NBA for many years. He got paid $50,000 a month. It was unbelievable. China's in a different place, as you know, but these guys treated me like gold. They really did.
So how's the competition there, coach?
Great. And this is the second league. This is the NBL. This is not the CBA.
Yeah, NBL. I see. Yeah.
And they didn't speak English. This group right here. We had an interpreter.
One of the struggles to you guys too. Yeah, I mean,
you get a translator, but okay. They were teaching me Chinese, of course, the bad words, and but they were great guys. And you know what? I didn't have to speak Chinese. They knew what I was saying, and they did it. They played hard. They go through a wall for you. You get really attached to Chinese players and Japanese players. You really do. Even Filipino. When I was in Qatar, I don't mean to get off the subject, but my first overseas,
okay. Yeah, I see that.
My first job was overseas in Qatar, and we played in this arena, Garofalo Stadium, and nobody came to the games. And all of a sudden, I was at a game once, and after the game, there was like thousands of Filipinos lined up to come for their own league. I'm like, holy cow, look at all, these guys are passionate. And that's the first time I learned how much you guys love basketball. It was unbelievable. The place was packed. I mean, the whole stadium. They had flags. They were marching in with their teams. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Do you think that might be your next destination, coach?
I would love to. I was offered a job in some place in Philippines, a university, but I didn't get it. I just missed getting the Syrian national job for the FIBA Asia games. I just missed. It came down between me and another guy.
Too, coach. Yeah, they got a good team. Before all this war came up, I mean, like they've been
They're good. They're good. They're good. I'm friends with some of their players, and they wanted me, but they went a different direction. But it would have been interesting. They work right now. They're training in Russia.
So how does it feel, coach, to be a coach like that? That like you've been traveling so much. Like, I mean, are you married, coach?
No, I'm not. That's one thing. I'm not married. Well, it's a lot easy. But in my contract, I make sure they put down. I get one hot dog before every game. I want a pregame hot dog. So not a lot of countries have them.
So what kind of hot dog you like, coach? I mean,
I like hot dogs with well, I like the New York style, the way I'm from New York. But in Georgia, I got hot dogs. In Denmark, they're great with hot dogs. But listen to this story. We're coming out of Chinese practice in China, and all the fans are outside, and we had to get the army to escort us out. They're crazy for us. They were crazy for us. And they had all these vendors outside, with wagons and stuff. And I saw a guy grilling hot dogs. So I said to the guy, hey, are those hot dogs? He goes, what? I go, hot dogs. Give me 2 of them. He goes, oh, no, dog, pig.
Okay.
He said, no, dog, pig.
Oh, you might be got them in the wrong day. I was
like, oh my goodness.
You almost got it, coach. You almost got it.
I imagine your reaction, coach, when you hear it.
It's a true story.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you never know in China.
No, but Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun, learning different cultures, eating different foods, learning the languages.
Oh
I had to
yeah.
learn a lot of different languages, even Arabic, how to say let's go or stop or, you know, God willing, all that stuff. I learned a lot. I was really into it. And I got a little tired when I was in Denmark. I wanted to come home, and I came home last October. But then I started getting some more calls for overseas, and then the pandemic hit. Um,
Yeah, because I
but
mean, yeah.
two places I've never coached besides the Philippines
Mhm.
is Australia and Italy. I have Italian heritage, and I'd love to go there. And but the Philippines is another. I mean, I have so many friends that are Filipino. I coached this kid Aguiar in California. I trained him, who was going to college, and I have so many friends. My friend Leo in California. He's a coach. He coaches in Southern California at a college. So I have so many good friends. You guys love basketball, and I wish there'd be more. Every country I've coached, basketball is not their number one sport. It's always soccer, football, and
And
Lithuania and Philippines is like
if
you guys got the
if
top
you go
sports.
to the Philippine, coach, that's the number one sport, and we have a lot of good hot dogs too. Not
Yeah.
that hot dogs,
Hey,
right? Hot dogs, really
you want to
the beef
you
one.
want to be my agent, Enrico? You want to be my agent?
I mean, you gotta be. I mean, we're in the U.S. coach. I mean, like, but these guys are in the Philippines. I mean, these
Okay, get
guys
my
are
name
coaching.
out there. Let's go, Melky. Get my name out there, Melky. And
You know what coaches want, right? Two hot dogs before the pregame. Make sure
uh,
wrap it in the bacon or whatever. That's what we
exactly.
do, man.
I'm easy. I'm easy.
I mean, don't forget about that. If you guys wants to win the game, make sure you got a pregame hot dogs,
Hot
like
dog.
different types of hot dogs in the entire season. You want to win.
No dog, pig.
No, pig.
Yeah,
Yes, coach.
but
Oh man.
coach, they put sugar in their spaghetti.
I
Oh,
put
Yeah,
I put a dash of sugar in my sauce
yeah,
to take
yeah,
the
but
bitterness of the tomatoes out.
but
oh, you
not
might taste
make
the
it
Jollibee,
candy.
coach. Oh,
Now you,
not like an Italian spaghetti, coach. I
I
mean,
feel hungry now. You
we
I'll,
have
guys,
a
I'll
secret.
cook. I'll do the cooking. I'll do the cooking.
There you go. Yeah,
you're making some
but
no,
if you want all the fresh herbs, you can get them all here. We got growing some outside now, which is
Oh,
great. You
great.
don't have to use the dry stuff.
Are you in Manila? Are you in Manila?
No, we're down here in Central Visayas, but you know, they grow oregano, they grow rosemary. I mean, it grows wild here.
They got
Wow.
good grilled chicken there, coach. They got
Oh yeah,
best
you call
grilled
it.
chicken. I
Ah,
mean,
Yeah,
stop
so
it,
food.
coach.
the
I
grilled
think you
chicken's
came
great
from
down
Don't talk
here. And
about food,
hey, it's getting close to lunchtime now,
Yeah.
guys.
I'm getting
Coach.
hungry.
your time, yes, in
Yes.
their time,
Coach,
coach. I mean,
Coach Jan,
go ahead.
this is
Yes.
the no when you came, so other coaches will realize this. When you go
Excuse me.
coaching in Kenya college, the thing that you do, you remove players, right? Those who those who are not listening to you, or those biases. How tell us, coach, to the coaches, even though how good this player is, what must be
Yeah,
the
it doesn't
coaches?
matter.
What
You
must be
want to
the
treat.
coaches' attitude towards those players?
Yeah, everybody gets treated differently, but you all treat them fairly. So one guy you could really get in his face, another guy you have to pat on the back. You have to figure that out. Who can handle it, and who needs more positive reinforcement. Like I have a guy on our team who I've disciplined twice during the game, sent him in the locker room. I said, "Come out when you're more composed." And then he came out and he just destroyed everybody. He was unbelievable. So he reacts, he responds, but he's got to learn that we can't have these distractions. Me and him going back and forth. I won't. I'm not gonna. After a while, you stop talking. See, when a coach doesn't talk to the player, that shows that the coach doesn't care anymore about you, and he's not going to waste his time. But when a coach is on you, he's trying to say, or she or he is trying to say that I care about you. But it's the message, with the new each generation it gets harder and harder. You got to be more and more, politically correct, and obviously it's a psychological game with them. You want to, there's another expression we use. Um, don't what is it? They shouldn't learn how you teach, but you should teach how they learn. You know, so you have to learn you know, about them, how they learn, and then teach that way. Um, I'm being all philosophical with you guys today, but
Hey, that's great. That's what we
Yeah,
need, Coach.
let me butt in on that. You know, you said, Coach, because the thing is, you what did I? Okay, um, these different places that you've been, um, these are all different philosophies, Coach,
yeah,
Different culture.
and a culture. I mean, and the topic today is development of this. So, how did you get yourself into, like, when you go there, you brought your system, or do, because like in Denmark, they're more of European ball, like moving.
it's a
So I
very
mean,
good question. Very good question, Enrico. You know, you have to be able to adjust.
yes,
Even my humor doesn't. You know, in China, it didn't go so well. So you got to know your audience, right?
yeah,
So you have to adjust. You have to stick to what you believe. They want you the American style. They want that. They want you to teach them the American way because America has the top basketball league, and I've come from that league, and so they want to learn from that. But you also have to adjust. You have to adjust to the referees. You have to adjust to the culture, like you said. You're not in their country you're not in your country anymore. And I tell that to the American players. Hey, you're not gonna, you know, you have to adjust to them. You got to. There's different rules. There's different laws. Things that you know. You got to be careful, and you got to stick together. And I tell the Americans to stick together because you know you're the only friends you're going to have sometimes, and you're under the microscope. When they bring an import over, an American over, you're the ones that get paid. You're the one that they're looking on to score 30 points, and you're the one they want you to represent the team. So you got to be careful and you got to adjust. Some of these guys come over and they think they're going to go out partying and you know and chasing people around and they get sent home. And then once you have a break in your CV, nobody's going to touch you. They're going to say, "Hey, what happened? What happened to you in Denmark? Why didn't you finish? Did you get hurt? Did you get thrown off the team? Did you get in trouble?" You know, those are red flags. So you have to be a good citizen, and you have to adjust, just like a coach has to adjust. You know, some players can't handle you getting in their face. Some players are just, you know, there were teams that I coached that guys were half the team wasn't even showing up for practice because they have day jobs. I was like, what the heck's going on here? You know, this is your job. You're a professional. You're the professional coach, so you're expecting them to, you know, be like you, but they're not. They have families. So I had to adjust to that. Like, all right, you know, but then after a while, I'm saying, you know, if you miss something, I can't play you because you're not learning what we're teaching.
thank you, Coach. I mean, that's something like, was like, wow. I mean,
Yeah, no, you're right.
yeah, you
All kinds
remember,
of cultures, all kinds. Georgia's different too.
because
Georgia,
you
Spain,
yeah,
everything's different.
you can brought up a good coach, but if he can adapt to the system, or it will takes him a while to transform the entire system to what he knew. So I mean, something is not, sometimes how it might be how good you are, you might not be effective. But
My
the
my
thing is,
my first job, my first job in Qatar, I'm screaming timeout to the refs. Timeout, ref, timeout. Why won't you listen to me? And I get a tap on the shoulder with the guy with the turban, and you have to tell the table. You have to tell the table. I'm like, oh God.
iba, yeah, uh-huh.
And another thing, at halftime, where's my team? They're not warming up. Coach, they're praying. They have all their shoes off and they're in some room praying. And I'm like, oh, I got to be careful here. So I learned. They got to pray. They got to pray. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
there's a time
So
for
I
it.
learned to respect, everybody's, beliefs and traditions.
Yeah, and don't look for the hot dogs that is
Yeah, there's no hot
pork.
dog.
There can have a hot dog porks in Qatar.
But it's not going to be a pork hot dog
You can,
in some
it
countries.
depends where you're at.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Hot
Just
beef. You ask them hot beef.
all right.
Hey, Coach.
I'm expecting a contract, Melky.
Ah,
I'm
yeah.
expecting a contract email to me.
Hey, Coach John, you grew up in New York, so hey, you had
Yeah, New
an
Yorker.
international country every other borough, right?
That's right. The
You grew
melting
up there.
pot. The melting pot. Yeah, I was very
That's
lucky.
right.
That's
Yeah.
Like
right. Because
California, same for me.
hmm Yeah, but I mean,
Oh
New
yeah.
York was like you are in the busiest place, like American, really style of living. Then all of a sudden, Maldives, like
Yes,
how,
Maldives.
all of a sudden, this place, like where I'm at, like how did you adjust? How easily did you get that adjustment? It's like it's gonna be hard.
Paradise.
Wow,
It was paradise.
no
And
traffic, right? Yeah.
100%, 100% Muslim. Um, eat lots of tuna, which I don't eat, but I did. And I got there during Ramadan and Eid, and we were practicing at midnight, and then going to eat. After fasting, we'd go eat. I got yelled at one guy in the street. I was carrying a bottle of water during the day. I'm like, holy cow! I didn't realize it. So I learned. I had nobody bigger than 6'3". We go to India and play against their national team, and then we go to Bangladesh for the regionals, and we go to the gold round, and we really accomplished a lot. And then they ran out of money, so I had to go home.
Wow, yeah, that's a
Great.
good program. You
We were
you
going to
you
train in the Philippines. We were going to
Yeah.
train in the Philippines. That was
wow.
that was one of four places they gave me. The guys wanted to go to Bangkok, and I knew that was going to be a major distraction, so I said, let's go to the Philippines.
Mhm.
Coach, just one more thing before, like,
Sure.
as on your offense, what mostly, the principle that you're trying to, uh, you know,
My
your offensive
offense.
style.
Yes.
Yes, coach. Yeah, that embedded in your principle. If
My
yeah, like you're
principal.
starting a team now, what kind of offense you're gonna teach them?
Right. Well, you know what? That's a broad. It could be a broad question because Enrico, it all depends on your personnel.
I know.
If you have a
Okay.
big team, you want to play a half court style of offense. But if you have a bunch of athletes, maybe you want to play a little more high intensity, fast transition, a little more up tempo. But you do have to have a half court game because in most places there's a shot clock. So you want to be able to get some continuity and then get the ball and share. You got to teach sharing. Sharing the basketball has to be first and foremost, and then getting the ball to the right person for the right shot. We have a pretty equal opportunity offense as long as you play defense. You don't play defense, then you lose your liberties to play offense. Um, but I have some half court quick hitters, which means like just a couple of passes and we get the ball to the right person, or we have some offenses where we move the ball and reverse the ball, and then we have to read and react to the defense. So, but it all depends on your personnel.
All right.
If you
Because
have good
mostly,
shooters, good
yeah.
shooters are always nice to have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so many options. Yeah, coach. That's why I asked because I wanted to just know mostly what are the offensive styles that like maybe come into my the coach's mind. Thank you, coach. Thank you, coach. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Yes, coach. In regards to Coach Enrico's asked question about offense, in defense, coach, do you play all the counters that you've been? You change your philosophy in defense. You're playing, or you're playing more on zone, or playing on man.
A lot of old school coaches don't like to play zone. Um, I like to have it just in case because you never know when you're going to face it. Also, um, I like to pressure the ball. I like to wear the team down, wear the point guard down, pick them up full court, and dog them. Dog, not pig. And we like to pressure them, and we like to mix it up off of free throws or timeouts, always changing the defense because the other team is setting up a play for what you were just using on defense. So I like to mess up that guy's timeout by changing the defense when they come out and they're not prepared. So I like to play games like that. I'm giving you a couple of secrets of mine if you ever play me.
Okay. So,
If
coach,
I'm in
like
the
I want.
If I'm in that Asian league.
All right.
Ah,
Because I was just looking
But no,
at
defense you have to teach the principles first. Pressure the ball, deny the wing, weak side help. And let me tell you something, coaches. 4-on-4 shell is the best in every practice for at least 20 minutes every day. It teaches you everything. Everything is in 4-on-4 shell. Weak side defense, on the ball defense, baseline, forcing no middle, contesting the shots. There's so much you could teach in a 4-on-4 shell.
Yes, coach. Thank you,
because
coach.
I just wanna see how you practice, guys. If you want that if that kind of principle you're trying to introduce about pressure, so the practice is, it's gonna be a closed door because it's gonna be hard.
Well, I also teach communication and talking, but also, our practices, and I have a couple of my players here, they'll tell you, our practices are very competitive. I tell every player, don't take it easy on your buddy because you're not helping him. Push him. You push him back. And when I mean push, I mean play each other hard, you know, and that's how you get better. If you have competitive practices, it's going to go into your games, and you're going to be ready for it. But if you take it easy, you're not going to get better. You're not doing anybody any favors. What you do is when you're going 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, the losers run. You take 5 possessions each. 5 possessions each. Whoever scores more in the 5 possessions, the other team runs the difference, sprints back up and down, and then you see how hard they'll play because they don't want to run.
And it was
You got to
like
reward the winners.
we went to LA Fitness, coach, like this morning, and my son told me like, "Why are you always so loud?" I said, "You're not gonna win if you're quiet. You got to be loud because your presence has to be there. They have to know what you're doing, and that's the basic. And especially on the
Yeah.
defense, you gotta talk, talk, talk."
You ready for this one, David? Communication is a gift. It's a talent. Talking is a talent. It
Yeah.
really is.
Reserved for Italians, right?
we use our hands, but no, but you know what? Kids will talk, players will talk outside of the court. They get on the court and they clam up.
Yep.
You want them to get talk, and and it's up to you to stop practicing and say, "Hey, it's too quiet." You know what I do sometimes? Sometimes I tell my coaches, "Let's just close our eyes and let's listen. Let's just listen to the plays, the screeching of the sneakers, the communication. I got ball, I got weak side, I got your help." And you just listen. Close your eyes and listen to your team practice for a minute. It's really interesting. Really interesting. I learned that from Bobby Hurley, one of the best coaches I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. Now it's Coach
Yeah.
David's time.
Oh, come on, guys. I think you're going to have to come back, Coach, because I don't want to keep you too much past midnight there, I know.
Yep.
Yeah, we got practice in the morning. We got practice in the morning, so we just finished the game, and it's a little after 11.
Yeah. So talking,
Okay.
my family, I come
Anytime,
from a mixed
guys.
background too. So it's fun talking to you, Coach.
Yes,
and
Coach.
we have a new Goomba here.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys need anything, you have my email. You just hit me up privately. I'm on WhatsApp and all that. Any questions or any help I could do, I love sharing my experiences. And I'm be honest with you, I'm never going to stop learning. When I stop learning is when I quit the game, and I'm not going to quit.
Yeah.
I'm always learning. I go to clinics. I talk to coaches. If you stop expanding your horizon, then it's time to give it up. So don't think I don't learn too, but I'd love to share things that you might not, be familiar with or need help with.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And we're looking forward to that book.
Coach.
Yes, Coach.
So
Yeah.
it comes out.
Yeah.
We're looking forward for it.
I'm gonna have it published in Filipino too.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Yes.
go. Hey, Coach, if you want to give us a copy, I like online. I'm not talking about this way, but like some quotes and stuff like that we can use as we're coaching. Some of those good quotes that you shared with us. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
yeah.
you, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach.
Before we end,
Okay.
Coach, last word from you, Coach. Last word from you, Coach, for the coaches who are watching us right now. Last word for them, Coach.
Thank you.
What, Coach? Your last word.
Your
Share
last
your
word.
last
Oh,
word.
last words. Last words. Well, I wish you all success, and remember this: you either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. So you got to every day you want to improve the team, the individual, collectively, and communication is very important. I have meetings with my players, and because you can't have them, they're not mind readers, and you're not reading tea leaves here. You have to communicate, and it solves a lot of problems. Um, you know, we've been given so much from this game of basketball, and you guys, I could see a typical passionate Filipino and my man from California, David. But I mean, it's something that we got to keep it going. We got to keep it going. Even the younger coaches learn, ask questions, and you know, they watch too much of these highlight tapes and video, and they pick up bad habits. It's not like that.
Yes.
They're never going to play like that.
Thank you so
That's
much,
right,
Coach.
Coach.
And before we end, Coach David, let us have our closing prayer for Coach David.
Absolutely. Well, Father, we thank you for the time to spend with Coach John and just everything we've learned today, and you know the relationship as it grows. Lord, we ask you to bless it, that we would get even closer, and maybe even Coach John could come here and would have even deeper relationship. But in the meantime, Lord, just bless him, protect him, use him mightily, I ask, in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you.